What I'm going to talk to you about is largely taken from the writings of Dr. Michael Greger. Most people think of chicken as a health food and a lean meat. It's probably one of the fattiest meats. Who knew? Chickens have been genetically manipulated to now contain 2 to 3 times more calories from fat than from protein. Once you hear this video, you might think of getting off of chicken, but don't just switch back to beef or fish or pigs, pork. Just stop eating the same muscle meats. They're all so similar. They have fat that is laced in between the cells and fats right in the cells, right in the animal cells, or the muscle cells. So there's no way to have a lean meat, really. It's just marketing that makes it look like it's a lean meat. They have tricks to make things look, the numbers look better than they really are. But eating chickens is one of the most common sources of salmonella poisoning. Salmonella is becoming resistant to antibiotics, multiple antibiotics, and it might not be destroyed by antibiotics soon. One reason for viruses becoming stronger than antibiotics is that farmers often inject one-day-old baby chicks in order to make them, or any animals, in order to make them grow faster. And then they often put antibiotics into their feed to try to keep them healthy. 66% of antibiotics are used in farm animals. If a virus becomes resistant to antibiotics, it would rapidly spread through the chickens or the pigs or anything like that, because they're bred to be so similar and they're in crowded conditions. The virus could spread to wild birds through with the virus going through the ventilation ducts of the barns to outside, or sick animals being transported. The virus could spread to humans through employees, and there's a chance of a pandemic that way. We're seeing antibiotic resistance more and more. We know how viruses mutate so they can stick around. COVID's still here. We need to nip this at the source, and that's animal agriculture. 90% of retail chicken showed evidence of contamination with fecal matter. Now, I've talked to you about this before on TikTok, where people are eating baked-on fecal matter in their chicken, because they advise you not to wash your chicken, because if you wash it, it could spread fecal matter all over your kitchen, the sink, the floor, and the counters and everything. So that's why they just say, just eat it, just bake it dry, I guess. So I really think it's still there. A study of 30,000 poultry workers found that those who slaughter chickens have about 9 times the odds of pancreatic and liver cancers. They are slaughtering chickens. So are they getting cancer from touching chickens or from breathing them, breathing these viruses? I don't really understand it. I don't know what's going on, but it's something, you should know about. There's a 72% increased risk of pancreatic cancer, lymphomas, and leukemias for every quarter of a breast of chicken consumed daily, a fourth of a breast of chicken. If you do that every single day, 72% increased risk of all of these things: pancreatic cancer, lymphomas, leukemias. I had a friend that almost died, very, very close, from a rare form of lymphoma and leukemia. Somehow it was like combined, I believe. And I thought right away it was probably just something like chicken, because they had no idea what it was. It could be. So I gave them information. Of course, they ignored it. But anyway, think about athletes eating chicken just about every single day because they think it's a lean protein. And they think it will help them lose weight without losing muscle, when it's high in fat and makes all their goals harder. To me, that makes sense, as too much protein is either stored as fat, is very easily stored as fat, and that fat is easily stored as fat, and or it's peed out, and all that acetic meat causes waste to build up in the blood and stresses the kidneys. The body then takes from the muscles They used to think it took from the bones. It does a little bit, but it takes more from the muscles in order to neutralize the bloodstream. So you lose muscle mass that way. It also raises cholesterol and ages you. And I'm sorry, I know I look old, but this kind of stuff, this is genetic. And my dad had jowls that drooped, and now I do. And, you know, I'm 67 years old, so, and I'm not going to get any surgery. I'm just going to live with it. But anyway, I don't even know where I am on this. Oh, yeah, so it's just the opposite of how it's marketed as a lean, healthy meat. Here it does all these negative things to you. So autoimmune diseases can come from chicken or any meat because the body recognizes animal protein as a foreign invader. So your body attacks its own tissues because it's similar to the meat, you know, that you've put down. It gets mixed up, or it can get mixed up, let's say, and that's how these autoimmune diseases can start. They were pretty certain that that's the way that it's happening. So yeah, it's because you're an animal. You know, it's going to be very similar to an animal that you're eating. Ugh. White meat consumption also appears to be worse when it comes to colon cancer risk. Better to not eat any form of meat at all. Seriously, think about it. White meat, red meat, studies show both raised LDL the same, LDL cholesterol. So start looking at plant-based recipes. You can even use plant-based alternatives. Don't worry that there is some processing, because, you know, they really got that message to you really quickly, and meat eaters are running with it. Oh, processed. Oh, their meat is processed. You should see what all the crap's in your meat. But anyway, just the main thing is check the ingredients label. You will find that a lot of the plant-based meats, the alternatives, are very healthy. They have very healthy ingredients. So just, you got to check them all over and try a few of them, you know. Studies show that the processing of plant-based foods does not lead to heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. But animal foods, eating animal foods does often lead to heart disease, cancer, or diabetes.